What's up, nerds? It's MTG Man. Been a while, I know. I'm a busy dude. I got a lot going on. I be working. I be living. I keep moving. I just, I didn't feel inspired to post for a little bit. So, I'm back now. Um, I work at a game store now. That's pretty cool. I've gotten to play a little bit more Commander than I was for a while, so that's been pretty cool. Actually getting to jam games, playing decks. And today I thought I would talk about one of the decks that I've really been enjoying recently, one that I've personally named Sand Up Yo Ass Crack, because that's what this deck does. Now this is Hazezon Shaper of Sand, so Desert Walk never comes up. I don't know if there's been a scenario ever where Desert Walk has come up, but he also lets you play deserts from your graveyard, which is cool, and whenever a desert enters under your control, you create two 1/1 red, green, and white Sand Warrior creature tokens. That's a lot of colors on a token. Let's be real, that might be the most colors on a token. And he lets you play lands from your yard. And Desert Walk, 3/3 for 3 Desert Walk, pretty good stat line. But I've been really enjoying this deck recently. It's not the best, but I'm also playing it a little bit suboptimal because I don't think it's fun to always play with like the optimal version. Like you gotta have a little bit of jank, or you have to go like a little too far into something so that when you pop off, you're doing something cool instead of like my deck does the same thing every game, and I Enlighten Tutor for this, and then I go infinite, and then I win. I like going infinite. I like me some combos, but you gotta do some other shit too. So let's just get into it. Now, of course, first off, is that we want to get lands in our yard. So we want to be getting as many lands in our yard as possible, so we can either bring them all back at once, or just bring back a desert every turn with Hazezon, right? So Commune with the Gods is cool because it's going to put the top 5 into our yard, and we're going to get a creature or enchantment from it. Now, the cool thing about creature enchantment is, A, there are some very good creatures that can, like, help us get back lands from the yards, things that are going to help us with our 1/1s, things like that, but also enchantments. So this is exploration, this is, well, I mean, back to creatures, Azusa, you're going to get different options, or like Need for Speed is a sack outlet for your lands, so this is going to let you find things that you're going to need for different, like, setups in your deck. Avendo Brush Razor, we're going to be doing a fair bit of sacking our lands, so this is going to be giving us value off of that. Plus, we can sack our lands to add mana, which is just more value. It's a nice value creature. Faithless Looting's nice because you can go turn 1 Faithless Looting. You can dump, we have colorless deserts. Some of them aren't the best, but you can dump them in the yard and then hope to get 2 cards off that, like, help you play Hazezon on turn 3. Famished Worldsire is definitely our top end, so you can devour lands 3, and it'll enter with 3+1/+1 counters on it for each land sacrificed this way. So you sack all your lands, then it's going to put a whole bunch of lands on the battlefield. You'll get a bunch of Hazezon triggers, and this can sometimes just win you the game. Now, getting to 8 mana is a little tricky, but you can do some ramping. There are ways to get a bunch of lands out at once, so there are definitely ways to, like, pay this off. Hermit Druid is a classic. You tap it. We have 2 forests in this deck. Well, 2 forests, 2 plains, 0 mountains. So there's a good chance that you're going to hit a whole bunch of cards into the yard with Hermit Druid before you even hit that basic land. And then, okay, here's 10 deserts I can play with Hazezon. Here's 10 deserts I can get back later. It just gives you options. Malevolent Rumble is pretty close to Commune with the Gods. It's going to use 1 less card in your yard, which is fine. But you can get any permanent. So this can also get like your Zurin Orb or artifacts. Plus you're going to get that 0/1, which you can either block with, or you can use to like just sack it for the mana to make this spell a little bit more efficient. We also, like I said, Zurin Orb, Need for Speed, Sylvan Safekeeper. We want ways to be able to sacrifice our lands in order to get them all back, because it's like sack 5 deserts, bring back 5 deserts. Now you have 10 1/1s, and that's just going to lead to you winning the game. So we want some nice, cheap sack outlets to be able to get our lands into the yard. And then Nahiri's Lithoforming. We sack X lands. For each land sack this way, we draw a card, and then we can play X additional lands this turn. And lands you control enter the battlefield tapped this turn. So your deserts are going to be coming back tapped, but if you sack your deserts with this, you just play them again with Hazezon. Sure, they come back tapped, but like you've lost nothing, you've drawn cards. I mean, maybe you wasted a turn if you didn't get anything good off the draws, but it's just a nice little option. And then, to counteract lands in the yard, lands in the field. So these are ways to play extra lands, tutor lands, basically just any way to get lands on the field. So Aftermath Analyst is going to mill, which is going to get lands in our yard, which is nice. But then it's also going to let us, like, just sack it and bring back all of the lands in our yard. So we go sack our deserts, bring back our deserts, whole bunch of 1/1s, win the game. Dune Chanter is nice because it's going to make lands that aren't on the battlefield deserts. So you, like, have lands in your graveyard. You have a plains in your graveyard, that's a desert now. You can play it with Hazezon. Plus, it's going to let all of your lands tap for 1 mana of any color. So this can also help you play Hazezon if you're having a bit of a slow start. Elemental Teachings, you search your library for up to 4 lands with different names, reveal them, you get 2 of an opponent's choice on the battlefield, and then 2 in the graveyard. If you just choose 4 deserts, you'll get 2 on the battlefield, and then you can just play the 2 in the graveyard. Elvish Reclaimer, it's just going to let you trade out lands from your deck. This can also help you get, like, Field of the Dead, as well as just, like, sacrificing your deserts to get other lands. Exploration lets you play an extra land. This is just good. Exploration Broodship just lets you play an extra land after it's, like, piloted or stationed. That's just good. Explore is a draw and an extra land drop. That's just good. Loot is an extra land drop. That's fine. Map the Frontier. This one's more of just like a cute thematic card, but being able to search for 2 deserts, put them on the battlefield is fine. Especially if you go turn 3 Hazezon, turn 4 Map the Frontier. Now I have, 4 1/1s. That's like a little bit better. Omen Path Journey is just going to let you guarantee you get a desert every turn. You just exile 5 deserts, and then at your end step, put a desert on the battlefield. Put a desert on the battlefield. You just do that every end step for 5 turns. It's fine. Oracle of Moldiah is going to let you play your lands from the top of your library, which is fine. And then, like, that's about it. But it's just an extra way to get lands, Azusa, just play 2 extra lands. It's good. Sand Scout, if you have less lands than your opponent, you'll just get to tutor up a desert, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. And it's also going to, like, benefit from, lands being put into your graveyard. So it's just going to give you more creature tokens on top of, like, ramping you if you're a little behind. Scape Shift. You have 8 lands, you sack them all, and you bring in Field of the Dead and a bunch of deserts. You get a bunch of Hazezon triggers, you get a bunch of Field of the Dead triggers. You win the game. Splendid Reclamation, it's literally just what's stapled onto Aftermath Analyst, but, like, by itself. So it's, like, fine. Just bring everything back, you're good. Summer Bloom, you go Zurin Orb, sack a desert, play a desert with Hazezon, get 2 1/1s, sack that desert, play a desert, get more 1/1s, and you can just do this 3 extra times because you played a Summer Bloom. I feel like that's pretty good. I will take 6 1/1s, plus your original land drop. I will take 8 1/1s. Titania's Command lets you tutor up 2 lands, put them on the battlefield tapped, which is good, and then being able to put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So you go tutor the 2 lands, you put that trigger first, you make 4 1/1s off of Hazezon, and then you put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So now they're all 3/3s. You put 12 power on the board. You've ramped yourself to. You're set. That's, like, a pretty, like, fine way to start it. Weathered Wayfarer, at some point you're probably going to be up on lands, and then you won't be, because you'll be sacrificing them for value. So being able to just get an extra land into your hand every turn is going to be very solid, especially with, like, utility lands, things that are going to be useful. World Soul's Rage, it just brings all your lands back from the graveyard if you can pump a bunch into X. It's removal to some extent. It's like a very fine card. World Shaper, dies, you get all your lands back. Bam, that's all we're asking for. Same with Will of the Sultai. Mill 3, return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That's fine. And then being able to put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of lands you control and giving it trample, is like a nice little upside. It's just a little extra thing if you also have your commander, which, like, you should. Now, the ramp package is small, but, like, the deck really wants to play on curve. You want to go 1-drop, either 2-drop Rock, or just some sort of 2-drop, into Hazezon, into Bomb, Bomb, Bomb. You just want to really set up, and then by turn like 5 or 6, you want to be in a very commanding position. Sometimes a little bit later, kind of depends on the tempo of the game. But we're just on Soul Ring, Felwar Stone, Arcane Signet, and Avacyn's Pilgrim. I think Avacyn's Pilgrim's nice because you can go turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim, turn 2 Mountain, and then tap them both and the Pilgrim to just like, there's Hazezon, there's a turn 2 Hazezon, and it can just give you a little bit more of a setup time. Removal-wise, a little light. I'm running a Braid just because it's nice. It's a good card. It's a very good card. Swords, Path, Nature's Claim is a card I've been really high on, and I continue getting higher on it. 4 life does not matter. 4 life is nothing. Being able to go 1 instant, destroy your thing, you gain 4 life, who cares? There is also a very, 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 very small circumstance where it can save you. I got Mr. Negative the other day, and I had to like sack, like destroy one of my own artifacts to gain 4 life to survive to then win the game. So sometimes it is a very small upside of like sack your own artifact or enchantment, gain 4 life. You shouldn't do it most of the time, but sometimes. Split Up, this is my favorite board wipe of all time. This is a one-sided board wipe like half the time. This thing rocks. This thing is so sick. Destroy all tapped creatures, destroy all untapped creatures. Your choice. Hey, my opponents all attacked on their last turn. I will destroy all tapped creatures. Hey, I just swung out. Destroy all untapped creatures. Like, you make the choice. I think that's very powerful. And then just Hull Breach, it's like destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or do both. So, like, sometimes you just want to do both. And then Annie joins up. It's a little bit gimmicky. It deals 5 damage when it enters to target creature or planeswalker, which is, like, fine. But it's also going to double your Hazezon triggers, which is, like, very good. Like, yes, I will take 4 1/1s. I'm just going to keep doing that. It's a very powerful card, especially if you can get it to hit the field early. Now, I keep talking about these 1/1s, but, like, what are you going to do with these 1/1s? Well, we have a lot of options. We have Balin the Haymaker. It's going to let them either tap for mana, draw you cards, or put counters on Balin, which is all very fine. Enduring Vitality is going to let you just tap them for mana, which is good. Impact Tremors is going to let them like damage your opponents when they enter. So, yes, I made 8 1/1s. Here's 8 damage at the table, and next turn I'm going to swing for another 8. That's fine. Knight of New Alara. Remember how I mentioned they're red, green, and white? Wow, isn't it funny that they're all 4/4s now? I sure do love having a board of 4/4s. That's pretty good. And then, of course, like, Nayali, 4/4s with double strike. And also, when they, like, attack a player, I'm going to get card advantage. This seems pretty good. On Wings of Gold, it gives them +1/+1 in flying. It's fine. But then, whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, you create a 1/1 Zombie. So you're going to be getting an extra token off of, like, bringing back your lands, which is good. And you're going to give all of your tokens, like, +1/+1 in flying? Like, yes, all of my Sand Warriors are 2/2 flyers. This will win games sometimes. Especially if you're, like, Summer Bloom, play a land, get 2 1/1s off of Hazezon, get a 1/1 off of On Wings of Gold, play another land, and you just keep doing that. That will win you games. Phyrexian Altar, you sack them for mana. They're just, oh, I played my land, I got my 2 1/1s, that's 2 more mana in my pool, I'm just going to keep going and doing shit, and, like, sometimes that wins games. And I just also, like, I happen to have one from the Countdown Secret Lair thing, and I was like, I gotta put it somewhere, because, like, it's a cool card, it's got great art. Like, Rumbleweed, it's an overrun effect. It's a good overrun effect. You just go, but Rumbleweed, they're all 4/4 tramplers, swing in. Shared Animosity, so when an attack, or whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. So if you have, like, 10 Sand Warriors, which is very, very doable. That's, like, incredibly easy to do. That's 5 lands, which, that just happens sometimes. That's 1 Summer Bloom, or that's an Exploration, and you get sacked lands, whatever. They swing in, they're all 11 ones. And, like, if your opponents can't block all that, so sometimes that just wins games. Skull Clamp, you sack them, you draw 2. This goes great with Phyrexian Arena, because it's like, sack a 1/1, draw 2, sack them for mana, uh, sack all my lands, bring back my lands from the graveyard, and you just keep cycling through your deck with the 1/1s as fuel. It's very cool. Starlight Spectacular. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control one at a time until each of them has been chosen. Each of those creatures gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature chosen before it. So you go, okay, I have 8 1/1s and Hazezon. I choose Hazezon first, and then I go up the line. So Hazezon will get +1/+1, then the next one will get +2/+2, +3/+3, until eventually the last one's getting like +8/+8 or whatever. Basically, yeah. So the first creature get +0/+0, so I guess Hazezon will get nothing. But like still, it's going to let you make your board incredibly huge, and then you can just swing in. Even if you have ones that can't attack it, you just put them in the line anyway. And it's like, okay, so here's the first 5 that can attack, and then the next 6 can. So it's just a whole bunch of value and a whole bunch of like damage. Toski, you just swing in, you draw cards. Doesn't matter about anything else, just draw cards. Wefstalker Ardent, it's just another ping effect, which are just very good. Plus, it can be warped, so sometimes it comes out of nowhere. It's like, oh, the table's at 10. I warp in my Wefstalker Ardent, and I have, 2 extra mana available, instead of, like, hard casting it. So sometimes that just comes into play. Sometimes that wins you the game. And then, Voice of Resurgence, not great, but whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, or when it dies, you create a green-white elemental creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. So it's going to punish them for, like, countering your spells, killing your creatures on your turn, by just, like, making big-ass dudes. Especially if you have, like, 10 1/1s. It's like, yes, I will make a 10/10. I will make another 10/10. Like, whatever. It's just a nice little bit of extra value that sometimes comes into play. Now, things I haven't talked about yet. We also have some like land payoffs. Like Baloth Prime is going to just give us a bunch of value from sacking our lands. Desert Warfare is automatically going to get all of our deserts back when we're sacrificing them. Plus, like, it's going to make us more tokens, which is good. It's going to make them on combat, which is good. We're probably going to have 5 or more deserts anyway. Felidar Retreat. Land enters, put a +1/+1 counter on all of our creatures, give them vigilance. And we just keep doing that every time we have a land enter. Sure, we can make the 2/2s if we really want to, but I would rather just keep buffing my Sand Warriors. Field of the Dead, it's a game changer. Ooh, scary. But like, really, you're playing a lot of differently named lands. You're just going to get to it and then start pumping out 2/2s on top of everything else. Lotus Cobra. Again, when we're trying to do that like engine thing with Skull Clamp, and we're just sacking 1/1s and then sacking our lands and bringing back lands, this is another way to do it, where it's like, okay, I got back 10 lands with my Wilderness Reclamation. I'm then going to add 10 mana off of Lotus Cobra, and then I'm going to sack 3 more 1/1s with Skull Clamps. I'm going to draw 6 cards. I'm going to sack all my lands. It's just more engine pieces. Titania, again, it's just going to super pay off us getting our deserts back from the graveyard. What are they going to do when we have 1/1s, 5/5s, and who knows what other kinds of tokens coming in? Plus, she's going to bring back a land to begin with, and it's like, okay, it's a 5-mana 5/3 that's going to get us a land back. And then, because that land came back, we're also going to make a 5/5. Like, it's 10 power on the board. And we've ramped 1. And it's an engine. So it's just a little bit of everything you want. And then Yuma, Proud Protector. It costs 1 less for each land in your graveyard, so it's going to get cheaper, especially if you're like mid-action, where it's like, okay, I've sacked all my lands, then I play Yuma, then I bring them all back. It's just more ways to create tokens off of us sacrificing our deserts, plus we can sacrifice lands with him to draw cards, so it's just going to be a little bit of everything that this deck is looking for. This deck is fun. This deck is a great time. Talking about the untagged stuff, we have Moonblessed Cleric. This is for either Need for Speed as a way to, sacrifice our lands, which is fine, or it's for exploration, or you can grab Desert Warfare. Like, there's a couple good targets with this, so I thought it was just a fine include. And then Void Fate is a pet card of mine. You counter an instant or aura spell that targets a permanent you control. So you just counter whatever's going to be targeting your commander. You need Hazezon on the board. You don't need him. You can do stuff without Hazezon, but this deck is a lot better with Hazezon. So, they go, okay, I'm going to abrade Hazezon, you go avoid Fate, and if that's the only piece of removal, you're like fine, at least for the time being. Now, I do have to mention, this deck suffers against opposing board wipes. There is very little you can do. I mean, I guess I could throw in like a Teferi's Protection, but like, I put a good amount of money into this deck as is. And has anybody really had that much more fun by spending $40 on a Teferi's Protection? 40, what are they at, 45? Something bananas, you know? And you can't really use like the exile type protection effects because we're playing with tokens. And I mean, I could run some things to give the tokens indestructible, but let's be real, this deck isn't about, gee, how long can I survive and then win? It's, I'm going to sacrifice all of my lands because my resources are expendable, and then I'm going to bring them all back, and then I'm going to have a million tokens, and then you're going to die. So talking about the land base, as you know, I'm a cheap motherfucker when it comes to lands. I'm not paying for shocks. I'm not paying for fetches. So like at this point, I'm starting to like pare down my decks a little bit because I built a few too many in a short span. But like I don't really care about paying that much in my land base. So of course we're on like Battlefield Forge. We're running a bunch of deserts, and then like brushland, Cactus Preserve. Just another way to. It's another desert. It's another. I'm playing all the fine deserts. Command Tower, Conduit Pylons, Desert, Desert of the Indomitable, Desert of the Dead, which is another way to make tokens. If you can go like Zurin Orb and, you know, Summer Bloom, you play Desert of the Dead, sack it, bring it back. You do this like 4 times. You've got, I think, 3 1/1s and then like 8. Sorry, you have 3 2/2 zombies and 8 1/1 sand warriors. So it's more engine. Exotic Orchard, Violet Thicket, Flagstones of Trocaire. This card is cool, especially with the Dune Mover. Is it Dune Mover? The one that makes lands not on the battlefield deserts. Because you sack the Flagstones, you bring it back, you know, you replay it with Hazezon, but after you've sacked it, you got a plains, so it's essentially just ramp. This is why you're playing 2 plains. It's just a way to ramp yourself while also sacrificing lands, which is very cool. Forests, Grasping Dunes. The -1/-1 has actually come up for me. This has, like, it has happened. I killed an Esper Sentinel with it. It felt good. I mean, it didn't feel great because I was going down a land, but then I just got to replay the land in a couple turns, so it wasn't that bad. Hashtag Oasis, Horizon Canopy. I really like the sack lands that you get to draw a card off of. Hostile Desert, Carplucin Forest, Lazatep Quarry, Mirage Mesa, Mossfire Valley, Painted Bluffs, 2 Plains, Ramanop Ruins, a classic, Rugged Prairie, Scavenger Grounds, which also has come up. Being able to sack a desert and exile all graveyards isn't that good, but when you're playing Reanimator and you've already got most of the lands out of your graveyard, you can do it sometimes. It will come up. Shefet Dunes, again, has come up. Sacrifice a desert to give your creatures +1/+1. Being able to bump up my 10 Sand Warriors to, like, I think they were already 4/4s because of Knight of New Alara. And then I gave them +1/+1, and then they were like 5/5s, and it was just like, okay, you take 5, and you take 5, and you take 5, and you take 5, and I eventually got to kill the table, and that damage, like, actually mattered. So that was cool. Sunbaked Canyon, Sungrass Prairie, Sun-Scorched Desert, Sun-Scorched Divide, and Survivor's Encampment. It's a very simple land base, but, you know, you want to pack in as many deserts as you can while also not killing the efficiency, because you need your colors. I don't care if I have to pay 1 to get my red. I need to be able to get red on turn. So I was trying to cut out as many of the tapped ones as I could. Now, to play a little test hand here. Yeah, this one's probably going to be embarrassing because this deck looks rough if you are not playing the right hand. And it is to some extent, but there are a lot of times you can just kind of like turn games around. So let's go in. We're going to go turn 1 Command Tower. I think we just run out Need for Speed because, like, we'll need it anyway. We're going to go to next turn. We're going to play the Painted Bluffs. We're going to tap 2. I don't remember. Do you just, like, boop, and then tap? Dude, that's way too much effort. Draw a card. Play an extra land. So at this point, we can run out Hazezon next turn if we draw into a land that adds basically any color. And if not, we'll probably commune with the gods to put lands in the graveyard, start setting up that way, or Vendo Brush Razor to just, like, start setting up that way. So we're going to go into turn 3. It is a land that adds colors, but it's not useful right here. So we're going to go tap. Tap. We'll play our Avendo Brush Razor. So now, once we start doing the land sack thing, we're going to be able to, like, add more mana. Plus, we can sack a land next turn if we want to, in order to add 2 red to be able to hardcast Hazezon. So I think that should be fine. We move to turn 4. Not great turn 4, but like it's a very it's feasible. It's plausible. So I believe we would go 1 and tap Painted Bluffs for white. Tap, tap, and then we would tap Avendo Brush Razor. Sacrifice the Painted Bluffs. Now we're at white, red, red. Tap the Command Tower for green. Play Hazezon. And then for land for turn, we'll bring back the Painted Bluffs. So now we're up a mana. Plus we can make the 2 1/1s off of Hazezon. Plus we'll be able to sacrifice one of those 1/1s to add mana of any color for Lazotep Quarry. Plus we have another red floating. And then, since we sacked a non-token permanent, we get to exile the top card of our library. And I guess we technically could have played it this turn, which is cool. So I think what we would do is go 1 red floating into tapping this, sacking. Actually, I don't even think we sack a 1/1 because there's not much we can do with Painted Bluff. So I think we would just tap Painted Bluff for green, and then Commune with the Gods. We get to look at the top 5. We can get a creature or enchantment to hand. So I think we're probably going to... Yeah, we have to take Baloth Prime here. But I mean, if we look at it, we move into turn 5. We have 4 lands on field. We have a land we can play from exile. We have 2 deserts in the graveyard that we can start bringing back. We could even just, like, pump 3. Pump more than 3 into World Soul's Rage. I think we could pump 4 into it, sacking a land, getting back 4 lands, and then just, we're at 10 1/1s on turn 5, move into turn 6, and then just start rolling through the game that way. Or if we wanted to do it otherwise, we could just play Baloth Prime, and then sack a bunch of lands for need for speed. Basically, sack a land. I think we would then get the trigger of Baloth Prime, make the 4/4, and then we would give one of our other creatures haste, and then we'd sack the next land, give the 4/4 haste, and then just start sequencing it that way, especially if we have like lands on the battlefield anyway. Even if we're doing that turn 6, turn 7, we have a lot of good options on where to go. Even if the hand looked a little rusty to start, this deck has a lot of ways to just like finagle where it wants to be. And it can take a bunch of different routes to the same goal, which I think is what I've really been enjoying about it. I don't know, I have a bunch of decks right now, but this one is probably one of my favorites just because it plays interestingly. You have to think about exile, you have to think about the graveyard, you have to think of how you sequence your lines to get the most value, because you'll get value no matter how you do it, so it never feels that bad. But being able to go, I sack this, and then I make the mana, and then I do the thing, and then I can play the land from the graveyard. Like, if I thought about it last turn, we probably shouldn't have played Painted Bluffs from the graveyard. We should have exiled this first, because, like, that's how the trigger would stack. And then we should have played Ramunap Ruins from the exile, and just made the 2 1/1s that way, especially because then we would have had, you know, red mana open instead of having to worry about tapping Painted Bluffs and 1 for, you know, filtering. But either way, there's a lot of interesting ways to play this deck, and that's what I've really been enjoying, and that's probably one of my favorite things about Magic right now. Like I said, I've been working at a card store, so that's been a really cool experience. I say working, I've kind of just been like I run the counter, which is cool. Like, I run the day-to-day, I'm there every day of the week, which is cool. And I, like, you know, I'm friends with the locals, so I get to, like, play Commander with them and hang out, and it's been rad. I'm really hoping to hopefully post a little bit more in the coming months, coming weeks, coming days. I've been really trying to, like, get things together, and I kind of realized how much I missed putting up videos here. But that being said, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Peace out, nerds.